Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about what an incredible job Hasbro has done as guardian of Dungeons and Dragons. So, Hasbro is Hasbro is the third corporate guardian of Dungeons and Dragons in its history. TSR guardianed Dungeons and Dragons from 1974 to 1997. From 1997 to 1999, Wizards of the Coast was guardian of Dungeons & Dragons. From 1999 till today, Hasbro is the corporate guardian of Dungeons & Dragons. And that is a huge, extremely important, very challenging task. And Hasbro has done an incredible job of saying, hey, in 1974, Gary Gygax did something tremendous, and every single time one of these design team members sits down to do intangible rules composition or tangible rules construction, we want to make sure that Gary's legacy is honored, right? And also to say, hey, even beyond Gary's legacy, Dungeons and Dragons has a legacy of its own. And it means something to Americans. It's a part of it's an element of Americana, and we want to protect it. We want to make sure that people realize this is for any American 12 and up, right? And not just Americans who are connected to lascivious activities, right? Like they've done a tremendous job, right? Now, every single word I'm talking about here is my humble opinion. You get to decide the facts for yourself. But I think, in my humble opinion, Hasbro has done a tremendous job of corporate guardian of Dungeons & Dragons. And the reason I believe this is I just watched the World Series, and it is my humble opinion that Major League Baseball has abandoned baseball as a sport for families to watch together. And I'm going to give you, and I'll tell you why that has become my humble opinion. And you could decide the facts for yourself. And there you go. All right, here we go. So I got invited to a Major League Baseball party because I live in Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia are in the World Series, okay? So I get invited to this party. First of all, it's a mistake to invite Scott Garibay to a sports party. The reason why is I'm very sensitive right now because I'm kind of working through some things, and I am very self-aware. I feel I am self-aware, right? And so one of the things is I watch, right? I'm completely aware I'm an intense, adamant person. So I learned a long time ago, not everybody's going to respond well to you, Scott, right? And so I watched to see if people are annoyed by me, and I annoyed people at this sports party because one, I actually know a pretty good amount about sports, but I don't value sports, right? And so when I talk, I say things that are incredibly frustrating to people who care deeply about sports, right? So here's what happened, okay? So I'm watching this, right? And because I don't think that baseball has no inherent value for me. I do know it has inherent value for many others, right? But I'm watching all these things other than the ball getting hit because I'm just like, oh, the ball got hit again, great, whatever. So one of the things I was watching was the ads, right? So they go to the place where the pitchers practice. I don't know what that's called, but it's like a little area to my knowledge, this was in Houston Stadium, right? And basically, actually, I'm not positive. It was in a Major League Baseball stadium, right? And so they go into the area where the pitchers are, right? Where the pitchers practice. And it said Charlotte's Web, Stanley Brothers, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's that beloved book that I read as a child. I remember sitting in Wisconsin on a step ladder, right? And I remember rain coming down, right? And looking out over Racine, Wisconsin, and reading Charlotte's Web. It was transformative. It was an amazing story. I learned a lot from it, and as a child, I really loved it. It's one of the books that really solidified my love of reading, right? And I was like, wow, that's wonderful. They're celebrating the child story that I read when I was a child. That's wonderful, right? And so I was like, wow, like right now, some little girl, I was like, in my head, I kind of painted this picture. I'm like, some little girl's going, mommy, there's the story that we read together. And, this picture is right next to my favorite story. That's such a great thing that Major League Baseball and my favorite pitcher are celebrating the book that I love. And so I was like, I said over to someone I care about at the party, I was like, hey, look at that, Charlotte's Web. And they shook their head and they were like, no. And I was like, wait, what do you mean no? Right? And then they're like, no, that's not something to celebrate. And I was like, what? Right? And so then I looked it up, and Charlotte's Web is not referring to Wilbur and Charlotte. It is referring to a 420 adjacent oil. And I was like, wait, this ain't MMA. This isn't like Manscaped and Crypto.com and like a bunch of other like side-eye companies that no one else will take their ads from, right? Like, and I was like, this is actual Major League Baseball. They couldn't possibly be advertising this product, right? Like, they don't need that money. There are a huge number of, upstanding corporations who would never, like, in my humble opinion, put their product, which is clearly not for children, with a massively connected child's product name, right? No, that can't possibly be happening in MLB. But that's, in my opinion, what was happening. Major League Baseball, in my humble opinion, is now saying, family done. This is only for adults. Major League Baseball, don't invite a child to that party to see the World Series. Do not even think about bringing a child to a Major League Baseball game, because you're going to have to explain what a 420 adjacent oil is and what it's used for and whether that child should use it, right? Because that child is going to go, Charlotte's Web, I'm super excited, right? Like, and you're going to have to say, no, you cannot be excited about this because this is not for you. And then you're going to have to, they're like, well, why wouldn't it be for me? Charlotte's Web is a kid's story, right? And you're like, yes, it is a kid's story, but this product is not for kids. And then that child, in my humble opinion, would say, why on earth are they doing, like, why are you going to get me excited about something I can't be excited about, right? And that's a really good question from that child. And I think that's a really good question for the MLB, right? Baseball did not need this money. They took it, right? And in my humble opinion, that was a massive, massive mistake. And here's the point of this video. Hasbro has connected Dungeons & Dragons to Funko Pop. Hasbro has connected Dungeons & Dragons to Legos. Hasbro has carefully connected Dungeons & Dragons to Magic the Gathering. Hasbro has very carefully connected Dungeons & Dragons to Yahtzee. 4 products that allow tangible campaign construction, right? And they have very carefully said, oh, you want to connect our product to this or this or this, which no self-respecting company would ever connect their product to, and banks will not give loans to, and like, no, absolutely not. We are protecting Gary's legacy. We are protecting the legacy of Dungeons & Dragons. And I am shocked to see that the MLB, in my humble opinion, doesn't think that Major League Baseball is as important as Dungeons & Dragons. Hasbro has literally done a better job protecting the legacy of Dungeons & Dragons than MLB has done protecting the legacy of American baseball, right? American Major League Baseball. Shocking. Thank you, Hasbro. You have been an amazing corporate guardian for Dungeons & Dragons, and I am so happy that you have not given this massive problem that, in my humble opinion, the MLB currently has. All that is my humble opinion. Every word of that is my humble opinion. You could decide the facts for yourself, and I am eager to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.